The morning sun began its slow ascent, painting the forest floor in rich hues of liquid gold. Every leaf and blade of grass shimmered with the waking breath of the woods. Through the dense, emerald brush, a hunter moved with practiced silence. His eyes were sharp, searching for the slightest movement. He reached a small clearing and knelt, spreading his coarse, heavy net over a patch of dry dirt. With a steady hand, he scattered handfuls of golden grain across the mesh, a deceptive feast for the unwary. Satisfied with his snare, the hunter retreated behind the gnarled trunk of a thick oak tree. He held his breath, the trigger rope coiled in his hand like a sleeping snake. He waited. The forest was still, save for the distant hum of insects and the soft rustle of the canopy. The trap was set, and the stage was perfectly prepared for the unsuspecting visitors. Moments later, the silence was broken by the beating of many wings. A flock of gray pigeons descended from the high canopy, their landing as soft as falling leaves. At their center was the king, a magnificent bird whose feathers shimmered with a distinct, royal sheen of violet and green. As the birds began to peck greedily at the grains, their hunger blinded them to the danger beneath their feet. Suddenly, the hunter pulled the trigger rope. The net snapped shut with a violent crack, pinning every bird to the earth. Panic erupted. The pigeons beat their wings in frantic, uncoordinated bursts, pulling the net in a dozen different directions. They were a chaotic mess of feathers and fear, their individual efforts only tightening the bonds that held them. From behind the oak, the hunter stepped out. A triumphant grin stretched across his face as he began to advance, certain of his victory. He saw not living creatures, but a prize already won. The Pigeon King looked at his panicked flock, seeing the terror in their eyes. He knew that if they did not change, they were lost. He let out a sharp, commanding chirp that pierced through the noise of the struggle. The birds went still, looking to their leader. He called out again, a rhythmic cry that signaled a new purpose. This time, instead of fighting each other, every bird flapped their wings in perfect, synchronized unison. The heavy net shuddered. It strained against the earth. Then, miraculously, it lifted. The hunter's grin vanished, replaced by a mask of pure shock. The flock rose as one, a single living engine of flight, carrying the heavy trap high into the air. "No!" the hunter cried, dropping his spear and sprinting after them. He pushed through the brush, his eyes wide with disbelief. But the pigeons were no longer grounded by their individual fears. They soared higher and higher, rising over the ancient treetops and far out of the hunter's reach. They flew with a singular, powerful pulse that echoed through the valley. Below them, the world transformed. They crossed rushing rivers that looked like silver ribbons and moved over jagged hills that had once seemed impassable. The weight of the net was still there, a heavy burden against their chests, but shared among 100 pairs of wings, it felt light. Their unity was their shield and their strength. They were no longer just birds. They were a testament to collective will. Far below, the hunter finally stopped, his breath coming in ragged gasps as he watched his catch disappear into the horizon. The pigeons did not look back. They flew toward a specific destination, a place of safety known only to the king. Every beat of their wings was a celebration of their newfound freedom, a rhythmic song of survival that carried them toward the sanctuary of an old friend. They landed softly near a hollow log where an old mouse waited, his whiskers twitching in greeting. Without a word, the mouse darted forward, his sharp teeth working rapidly against the thick, stubborn ropes. With a final, satisfying snap, the knots gave way. The net fell limp. The pigeons burst into the sky, truly free at last. As the sun dipped low, turning the clouds into a sea of fire, they soared toward the horizon. They flew together, a beautiful, unified silhouette against the dying light. They had learned a truth that would stay with them forever. In the face of overwhelming odds, there is no force greater than a single, united purpose. Together, they were invincible.